Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. Let me introduce to you the Protoss player in the blue, in the bottom right. It is D-Mawa, Showtime, the wall. Quickly becoming one of my favorite Protoss players to watch as he demonstrates this solid, stable style at a tumultuous time for the Protoss, especially up against Terran. Speaking of, in the top left, the red, the Polish Terran player from Storm Gaming. It is Spirit. He will put Showtime to the test. His aggression has broken many Protoss before him. There's literally no choice but to do so if you play on the European ladder, which is well stocked with less accomplished Protoss. But if you're enjoying Showtime, or Spirit as well, who's been a repeat challenger as much as I have, or you know, any fraction of as much, I'm not gonna gatekeep it with the keeper of the gates here. Well, then it'd be awesome if you could like and subscribe. Jimmy, what are we at? 1,000 at 1,095 likes. If we're able to get there on this cast, on this video, I'll cast another series. And I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you've had a good day so far. Hopefully it's about to get a little bit better. Best of 3 TVP and 2 Adepts shading in to the natural. It's going to be a Stargate behind. Spirit very keen on keeping as many of these Marines alive as possible. He does have a bunker. So as long as he's able to whittle down the Adepts, loses another one of them. So these add up. I don't think Showtime going to commit the Oracle unless he knows he can do damage. How much vision does he have so far? We're looking at nothing but the barracks. Wasn't able to get in. Doesn't know about the... Yeah, Oracle comes in. And that Marine count seems to be just barely high enough. Cyclone comes out. But Showtime's already back. Oh, no! Well, looks like he didn't have that revelation. Oracle knocked out of the sky. I thought he was making some clever moves there, trying to evade possibly getting sniped off. But no, he just didn't know the Cyclone was on the field. Looking the other way for a moment. And that Oracle won't be looking at anything ever again. Spirit with a, I was going to say a big win, but I'll go with a medium-large win. Medium win. Moderate. Getting the first Oracle is good, but is not nearly game-ending. And Showtime built another one behind it. Always very diligent. The Stargate affords a lot of opportunity to just get constant scouting. The Adepts as well, aggressively. Yes, the Shades might have the wool pulled over their eyes as they shade in, but it does kind of force a response of sorts. And you can get an idea. Like, Showtime now knows there's it's a bit odd to see the second gas quite so quick. I guess not so odd when you consider we're 5 minutes in. There's already the double tech lab, but it's going to be a big bio follow-up. There's a stasis ward out in the front as well. So just in case Showtime gets caught, this exact scenario is Spirit watching. Gets the Cyclone caught. Oracle coming in towards the main. Seeing the Cyclone, knows he's safe enough for now. And behind it is an Immortal, Charge, Robo Bay, 3 more gateways. And Showtime, he needs to buy enough time to get that charge. To get as many Immortals and Phoenixes as possible. But with the Stasis and with the Adepts, he's already pressured Spirit enough. He's kept him back. Stim and Combat Shield will be done. But there are no medevacs here. I believe a couple coming across the map, but they're tagged by the Oracle. So he knows exactly the timing. Chrono Boost on the charge. No Chrono Boost at the moment. But with these force fields, or potentially Guardian Shield, Showtime should have enough to zone Spirit out of this. Spirit realizes, but Showtime, another tag, spots the medevacs, but that doesn't mean he can necessarily stop them. Yeah, just because you slap the sticker on him isn't going to stop him from dropping in the main. Charge completes with a full second or 2 to spare. As the Marines and Marauders able to gun it down. I think he realized they finished at that last moment, but might as well kill the Twilight Council. That also denies the upgrade. Showtime brought a lot of his units back. I love one thing. I really love... Sorry, I'm back. Spirit had to go take a bit of a water break there. Stay hydrated. Not you, Protoss, because Protoss, of course, don't have mouths. They have roots, because they're plants. Very important to note. Stasis. Does he notice the stasis? Yes, that very clearly so. But it actually stasis the Widow Mine as well underneath, which creates an awkward scenario, because now you can't kill it. There's a pretty thin window for dealing... Wait, does he... Okay, he has vision. Is that because of this? I don't actually know if the stasis always provides vision. I believe it does. But, oh, the Widow Mine does come out of stasis and unload, and then it does give a little time for Spirit to set up an attack of the natural. Zealots caught in a prison of Showtime's own design. Makes it very difficult for them to maneuver around their own base. Down goes a sentry. Right now, he's just slipping in and out of the minerals as the Zealots desperately try to dive onto the Marines and the Marauders. A Colossus comes out, finally cleans up the mine, but overall, Spirit manipulating the terrain quite well, making life very difficult for Showtime in his own base. But Showtime, as always, stands tall and defense. Colossi are being incremented out. I'm not sure if this match was played during or before the extended range Colossus bug that gives them +1 range. I don't know how much that'll factor in here. Once again, my official stance is worth testing as a balance change, as Colossus definitely needs some help, but embarrassing and problematic as a unannounced bug that is not something that should be in tournaments. But here we are. Though, for those watching today, there is a fix on the horizon, alongside another few dozen small bugs that most people didn't notice, but there is a patch coming up very soon. I look forward. No, I don't know if I'm going to do a patch video. It's literally just bug fixes. And you're like, they're finally nerfing Zerg? One, good one, nice, pat on the back. Two, no, not like that. Like, a lot of little quirks, like the carrier still having its interceptors launched in interference matrix. Stuff like that. Couple ghosts on the way, as everyone kind of sat back in their corner. Once Showtime built enough Phoenixes to zone out the medevacs, and he did. He kept adding on Phoenixes. He's at 8 Phoenixes. The Ocho right now. There's just no opportunity for drops without risking a huge amount of your supply. And Spirit, perfectly comfortable at home. The one thing that Showtime doesn't have is many gateways. He can't be doing the floods of Zealots that try to stream into bases. Beautiful. Wait, that stasis is suffering from success. EMP wipes out the shields and energy on half the Phoenixes. So Showtime has a higher, like, it's like a batting percentage for in baseball. You know, the sport that is so intense that players wear belts. Well, looks like he's gonna go for 2 on this one. I need a disruptor into stasis batting percentage. So, like in baseball, how there's like a 35% chance that a player, like a really good player, will get a hit, which seems low, thus pastime. I played a lot of baseball. The disruptors are about there as well. Lining up the disruptors to hit right as stasis ends, but before the Marines and Marauders are able to get away. I'd say Showtime has a higher disruptor hit percentage than most. The disruptor alley-oop, but it's still 50-50 at best. Alright, the planetary under fire. Extended thermal lance, purification over the zone out. The Viking fleet will engage. Planetary is down. Feels like before the fight even begins. Showtime lining up for a recall here. Pops it. Gets out of there. Loses 1 Colossus on the way out. Another one badly bruised, but overhaul gets away relatively cleanly. Advanced ballistics on the fusion core on the way. I don't think we're going to see much more at the time, as against this robo-bay-oriented army, the advanced ballistics liberators alongside the Vikings in the skies could potentially reign supreme and force a sky toss transition, or at least something like Tempest maybe out of Showtime here. God, He's so good with the oracles. I want to keep pointing that out, as like, he's so diligent about keeping the oracle tags on everything. But unfortunately, pinned up against his own Nexus. The EMPs wash across the board. Shield battery overcharge. 1 unit at a time restored. And Spirit now has the bully pulpit. He has the units that make Showtime react to him. And he's standing at the doorstep, though Showtime trying to turn the tables a bit right now with the Warp Prism in towards the main. There's no real defense. There's no turrets. There's no units here. If Showtime can set things up, potentially line up some disruptor hits while getting damage back at home, he could turn this around quickly. But here comes Spirit. Everybody going every which way now. Liberator in the main. Gonna try to defend. The fusion core itself is vulnerable. The Ghost Academy being sliced up as well. Meanwhile, going straight into the fight is Spirit. A couple Liberators. Disruptors zoning out. Phoenix is looking for an opportunity. Not enough Vikings to really deny much of this. And the Vikings themselves kind of abandoned out in the front of the fight. 2 Disruptors from the back line. Good split. Good enough for now. Zones out again. Liberator still fighting a lot of damage. Vikings 2 versus 2 Phoenixes in the back line. Shield battery overcharge. Oh, he picks up what he can and loses the rest. Spirit is forced to retreat as the wall holds. And meanwhile, on the back, finally the Liberators will strongly suggest the Warp Prism leave. The Warp Prism just gives up on even bothering anymore. And the reinforcements were cut off because of that Prism. And that means Spirit's attack is undercut heavily by the Zealots on the back line, and his nose was bloodied by the Disruptors and the rest of the Protoss army at the front. So Showtime holds on to all of his bases and pushes Spirit back across the map. 2-2-2, plus 2 ship weapons, an incredibly important upgrade. 2-shot Stalkers with those Liberators. Huge damage upgrade, 1 shot with EMP. So those Liberators are real and present danger, immediately inspiring a fleet beacon out of Showtime. The beacon being brought in, and 2 more Stargates. I think Tempest may be required. Liberator sieging up. Stalker's able to blink underneath. Back behind. Liberator's trying to look for a better angle. Actually being used for anti-air. Phoenix is late to the party. Disruptors disjointed. And the Bio Army just rolls over everything in the center line. Showtime really didn't want to lose his critical mass of ground units before he transitions to Sky Toss. But he didn't have too much of a choice in the matter. Plus 3 weapons about to complete. Spirit hasn't started his 3-3 at all. The double robo being chrono boosted. Plus 3 now done. The best damage these units are ever going to get. The Oracle slaps another revelation. I believe this is the same Oracle. Yeah, he built 2, and he's only lost 1. Showtime has kept this Oracle alive the entire game, despite everything. I believe it has 3. Yeah, it's in the single-digit HP, which is its comfort zone. Here comes Spirit, setting up quite a dramatic siege line. The Tempests are in production, but the overlapping fields of freedom here, the Venn diagram of liberation, is closing in. And without the Tempests, he's not going to be able to dislodge these without critical damage. The Blink Stalkers might be able to get there, but the amount he'll lose is prohibitive. And finally, Showtime loses a base. The Tempests are being chrono boosted out. Two more command centers retaking the Nexus. 81 to 73 workers in favor of Spirit here, but it really comes down to mining locations at this stage of the game. Another Ghost Academy. I believe he lost the other Ghost Academy to these Zealots at the back with the Warp Prism. So he's forced to rebuild. Showtime is maxed out. The Tempests actually draw the Liberators in. They try to fight them. A big mistake. A recall. A minimalist recall, but enough units to deal with a drop or 2. Showtime manages to partition them out. And aggressively expanding as he can here. Another Liberator. Meanwhile, the Terran army in the center, trying to target the Nexus. Nexus goes down. No cancel, not a huge deal at this stage of the game. Prioritizes getting as much damage done. Knocks another medevac out of the sky. Ranged Liberator. There is a Phoenix to put a timer on it. The Colossi. Spirit stims forward. Shield battery overcharge. Holds. And Showtime rotates his defenses around. Liberator will siege up. Eventually the Phoenix will pincushion it to death. And things slow down once again as the next level of tech has been reached. Both sides at a near stalemate. Well, not really a stalemate, but they both reached for the highest level and the most advanced air units. In this case, Advanced Ballistics Liberators for Spirit, and Tempest for Showtime. Units that both, by their very nature, kind of slow the game down and force a more deliberate method of, well, either a just dramatic attack or a deliberate siege. As now there's a no man's land between the Tempest and the Disruptors and the Liberation Zones. Well, Showtime just dismantled the last Liberator of that army. The Oracle is still here, though finally goes down to the Ghosts. I jinxed it at the last moment there. See if he builds another EMP on the Nexus. EMP on the shield battery. Making sure, with a recall. EMP on, you know, there's no bad target. The army may get chased down, but Showtime bait and switch. The Tempest should be in position to defend. More EMPs on the front. Nexus. Liberator will be dealt with, and it looks like Showtime taking tough fights, but this all happened before Spirit, moments before he finished 3-3. So it not only was it a rough fight, but maybe a little rougher than it should have been. The medevacs are nearly out of energy. The Marauders are only half HP. The Tempests are chunking through. No tectonic destabilizers for dismantling these buildings more quickly. The Disruptors continuing to push Spirit back. And Showtime. The line pushed forward yet again. Spirit on the ropes here. One bad fight away from Showtime getting towards his production. The Orbital under attack. Another Ruptor underneath. Flips a Marauder. Down goes the Orbital Command. Showtime rotates around yet again. The Viking fleet to match, and now some Liberators. 13 Vikings on the field. +2 ship weapons. Going on +2 mecha armor. The air +1 air weapons right now for Showtime. And +1 shields, technically. Though isn't investing more. I'm not sure. There is a calculation. I believe it's 5 Tempest with +1. One shot a Liberator. But don't quote me on that. I'm not here to do math. I'm here to pretend I know math. But the Viking count is too damn high. Showtime forced to retreat until he can muster a better defense with splash damage against these bio units. More Liberators looking for an opportunity. Finds one. Showtime reacts very quickly. Pulls the probes away. And so far, Showtime hasn't been able to lay down the hammer yet. I'm not actually sure how he plans on pressing, if he had an advantage, how he would push forward. As right now, it feels like Spirit has retaken the initiative with the Vikings. Showtime just does not have the ability to match him in the air at the moment. No rapid reignition thrusters from Spirit, despite the medevac count. Nuclear launch detected on the center. We'll see if Showtime's able to find it. The Vikings, a bit distracted here, but will kill the last Colossi. Snipes onto the Zealots. And he gets away in time. The nuke will land, but hits only an empty base. Does force. There's so much constantly pressuring Showtime and keeping his probes busy. He has to run away from the Liberators. The nukes. The Ghost itself is a danger. But Showtime held. He has a dozen gates, 3 Stargates, triple Robo. He's got the production, but Spirit is still putting together 6 Liberators at a time. He's still got a lot of mining himself. Vehicle plating too, about to complete. Disruptor flung through. And Showtime trying to cut off the circulation in between the third base and the north base here. And so far, doing a good job of it. The disruptors continually staggered. Another thing I want to kind of point out from Showtime. Doesn't have that massive disruptor count. There's 6 of them. But so many times we see players with like 10 plus disruptors, and then they just lose half of them before the fight starts, as that's just, how can I hold all these disruptors? It's a bit difficult to control that many, and sometimes just a liability. But Showtime with enough to continue staggering. Wow. The line of liberation. How many now on the field? There are only 6 of them, all of them right there. Spirit trying to... I'm not sure where he's headed with those medevacs. The Stalkers blink in. Raptors will cover the gap. Hit a Ghost. Working on more Liberators here. With the EMP, though, the Stalkers have to be very careful of fighting into the bio and the Liberators themselves. A Nexus blocks a command center from landing. And Spirit, wow, Showtime with a bunch of cannons. The Tempest count, Tectonic Destabilizers on the way, though he's down to 2 Tempests. Showtime is maxed out, so we can't really build any more Tempests at the moment, though it shows he wants to continue investing in them. The Vikings trying to find targets. Another Nexus to the north. Showtime expanding like a Zerg right now. Just taking the rest of the map. The Bio Army is closing in. Disruptor shots. Fires another volley. Finds the front line. Fires everything else. All barrels opened up. And he gets a lot of Spirit's army, but the question remains, is it enough? I think so, with another big warp in of Zealots. The cannons to zone out. And now Showtime is chasing down the Bio Army. To the north, the Drop's trying yet again, but Showtime. His army is in position. Spirit scrambling. As Showtime still scraping 200 supply. Spirit. He's not able to break just the core of the army from Showtime. Has been doing so well. The Liberator's coming up. The Zealots getting shaved away. Showtime backs off to the high ground. Disruptor covers the retreat. Fadeaway shot. More than enough. This is still happening. More Disruptors on their way out. Tectonic Destabilizers done. Only 1 Tempest left, but extra building damage. Some fancy SCV micro. Into the planetary. Oh my god, it worked out! He saved the planetary, but at what cost? 1 Disruptor lands. The minimap is still a bit of a mess, as it shows Showtime actually still mining from this base. Right now, Spirit is running out of locations to mine. Showtime, instead of risking his army trying to win the game, he's just very confidently making sure he doesn't lose. As he continually zones Spirit out. The DTs with Blank, the most effective planetary sniper squad, but he actually recalls them out. Unfortunately, well, he recalls them to the base and then blanks them out as he went to the closest base when he just tapped the recall key. But he actually manages to get most of those DTs out. And 4 DTs are, well, cost way more than a Nexus, so... Showtime down to 150, Spirit down to 155 supply. Showtime still has 80 probes. The army supplies are still dangerous. Showtime still has to be very careful here. But if he ends up killing enough of the orbitals, then the DTs themselves can whittle down the ground army. Right now, Spirit picks up, heads towards the main. He's going for the throne. He wants to kill enough of the production that his army can win the day. And the Liberators are covering everything else. But Showtime is still mining from the rest of the bases. He can rebuild. He's maxed out. Planetaries are being cut off. Another one down. And 53 SCVs have been taken out in the last minute. And that's not the end of it. Spirit down to less than he started with. Trying to micro his SCVs around the planetary fortress. But Showtime is throwing the Purification Novas out. He's knocking out the income. He let the army kill his base. Quickly realizing that he couldn't contest it. No reason to come back when you could do more damage. on the other side of the map. He's just quarantining the army in his base right now. There are still 3 orbitals, as Spirit musters what defenses he has at home. But the income is certainly not looking great. 0 minerals is not the income we're looking for as Terran at this stage of the game. Showtime. Almost a leisurely consolidation of his forces. He is nearly maxed out. Spirit's army is still a healthy supply, but nothing else, well, really exists. So Showtime can take his time to show Spirit how this game is going to end. The production tab is empty. None of the non-warp gates. Actually, I'm not sure how many production buildings Showtime has powered. Doesn't matter. Blunks in. EMP. Not enough. 1 Liberator left. DT's underneath. Tries to pick up. Tries to get out. But the Stalkers blink up to the high ground. They get 2, 3 medevacs. The rest of the Marines unload. And that, I think, is just about that. G and G. Showtime with a masterclass defense in game 1 is able to shut down Spirit at pretty much every turn. Wow. I gotta say, he reins in the disruptors. Just the way he holds on to them and kind of just staggers them out. So many players find themselves firing off 4 or 5 disruptors at once. But Showtime calmly firing 1 shot at a time. Just a suppressive fire. I joke that they're the most dangerous force field, but truly, that is their most regular use. Jimmy? Jimmy, please. Game 2. Engineering bay block. He pulls 3 probes to deal with it quite early on. The reason you build the engineering bay, as opposed to anything else, is it has the highest HP and lowest build time ratio. So, buildings start with about 10% of their HP. So therefore, since its only purpose is to block, it is the most successful in doing so. You just cancel it at the end. Same for cyber cores, which, honestly, the only time you see cyber cores blocking for Protoss is in PvP. But, at least recently, it used to be something against Zerg, but Zergs have just given up on taking their natural. But in PvP, the cyber core actually has more HP and builds faster than a gate, so same deal there. Marine first, no Reaper. Zoned out here on Neo-Humanity. Hellions. Not super rare. But is there a proxy starport or something? No. He's just building Hellions. Alright. He is up against a Stargate build. Of course, he can't know that yet. But the Hellions come online quite quickly. 2 Hellions are still enough to wreak havoc, if not dealt with efficiently. As it only takes 3 Hellion hits to kill a probe. So, and you're left with very limited units early as Protoss. Will he just run in is the question. Showtime builds the wall. So the answer is no. Though he may have wanted to. Showtime's wall is up exactly on time. With only 3 or 4 seconds to spare. Not that I think it would have been devastating since he already had 2 units there, but... Twilight Council. Twilight Council immediately behind, and he's holding on to the Oracle. which is very... He might be suspecting a drop in this scenario, or just... He's not building another Oracle, which is kind of the crazy part. A lot of the times this is followed up by Widow Mines as well, because you have a reactored factory, or, well, you had a reactored factory. Little does Showtime know. Well, here's the Cyclone. Pushed back. The Cyclone is definitely a wrinkle here. But here comes the Oracle. He held on to it, suspecting shenanigans, and shenanigans indeed it was. The pot probe, he gets the gate, but the Oracle dies. The probe down, runs up, slams down the gateway, and holds the door as the only way Protoss can. More warpins. So another Cyclone comes up as Spirit has decided he doesn't want to play for the late game here. He wants to get ahead early, as Showtime demonstrated his prowess in the last one. But a dangerous game indeed. Losing that Oracle really hurts here. Having access to it, even just building up for stasis wards, would have been very nice. But it appears holding on to the Oracle not only paid off, but potentially saved the game here. As, for a moment, Spirit was, he had a Cyclone and Marines against, like, one Stalker and one Adept. And without that Oracle still at home, it is not unlikely he would have broken through and started killing a lot of probes. Potentially the pylon powering 2 out of 3 gates. So, yeah, Showtime builds another Oracle, making up for it. That Revelation, so useful to have. Stasis Ward's great. And, of course, the damage. In that order, I think, are the most important Oracle abilities, especially for someone like Showtime. Knowledge, defense, and damage. In that order. You shouldn't need damage if you have knowledge and defense. You're already in position to deal with it. No need to waste your energy on silly things like laser beams. 3 more gates, and this time a transition into charge for Showtime. What has he seen? Not too much besides the relatively standard blink defense, siege tank, bunker, good sim city. 5 more gates. I'm sorry, am I fanboying too hard? I feel like I'm like, Showtime can do no wrong. Everything he does is perfect and beautiful. And everyone else, no. I'm not giving Spirit enough credit for what was quite a dangerous build that was only barely deflected by Showtime. Using the Hellions and then following up with the Cyclones, which, if he was going straight for Blink, or if the Oracle was across the map, that was potentially deadly. It was only because Showtime was prepared. And there's a stasis there. No, I will fanboy all I want. Alright. I mean, look at this. Look at this gateway setup. He's got an Artosis and a tasteless pylon to back it up. He's got his gateways tucked in so they don't get sniped up by the first drop that shows up. Stalker's in position to block out the orbital. And charge lots warping in. Robo's on the way. Thing is, Spirit has, despite everything, Spirit has not been slowed down economically. While Showtime has put up a spirited defense, he may get spirited away by Spirit's bio ball. Oh, wow. Because it's not a huge investment to send just a few Cyclones across. Oh, no. Maybe he wanted to recall? Showtime actually gets a bunch of Stalkers trapped and killed by the bio ball. There are 3 sentries here. A bit of an odd, I believe even a select all army hotkey because of that. Yeah, he sees the stasis, tries to deal with it. Will do so. No stasis triggered. 1-1's about to finish, and losing those Stalkers, losing that anti-air, just that damage potential, means that Spirit is gearing up for a full-on push. He's got double upgrades. He's got stim. He's got combat shield. He doesn't have concussive shells. Everybody forgets concussive shells, but Showtime has a lot of charge lots, which could very well overwhelm this army. But there's the Guardian shield. Widow Mines will burrow. Down go the tanks. Widow Mines getting good damage across the board. Softening up most of the Zealots. Another round is warped in. But Showtime is pushed back. He's not able to rout the Terran forces in the first engagement. More Widow Mines will burrow. And the Zealots have not yet reached the number that could drive the Terrans back easily. Behind this, Spirit slaps down a Ghost Academy and another command center. He's getting an armory as well. And Showtime will keep warping in, but the Zealots are getting shaved off at the same rate they can be replaced. The force field mildly inconveniences the Terran army. The bio ball, accidentally loads up into a medevac, but the critical mass of Marines and Marauders is there. Showtime agrees. Game 2 goes to Spirit in a relatively concise timing attack. Knowing he had an opportunity there, well executed, confidently moving up into that position. That's very important for Terrans. That's something Zest was so good at dislodging, was just intimidating players into thinking they don't have a better army. But Showtime unable to pull that on Spirit, as after losing those stalkers, Spirit smelled blood in the water, and was able to capitalize nearly immediately. The charge lots really rely on momentum. An interesting follow-up, but when you don't go for Colossi, you simply need to have more units. Because charge lots don't trade well pound for pound. I think Marines with power armor weigh about the same as a Zealot. Maybe a Marauder, I don't know. I haven't weighed them lately, they're very self-conscious. Anyways. So, the charge lots, an interesting idea, but I think Showtime losing those stalkers undercut all his potential momentum. Spirit, very interesting build. And did not give Showtime any opportunity to drag it back. And that is what we're used to seeing. That's the Spirit that has contested some of the top Korean players as well. He finds these timings, and he just slices through. And if the game drags on, okay, maybe it gets a little tough, but so good at hitting even the early attack in the last match. If Showtime hadn't had that Oracle. Disaster. Probe, here to take a look around. Just a quick inspection, sir. How's your armor doing? Looking good, looking good. Yes, no, come back. Sir, please, sir, this is, you'll be hearing about this. Let me speak to your supervisor. Sir, come back. I'm not done. Actually, sir, what's your return policy on minerals? Stargate on the way. Marines come up, which is most of the reason you keep the probe around past the command centers to find out whether it's a Reaper or just Marines or Marine. In fact, in this case, it's a reactor, which was spotted, of course. Occasionally, it is not out of the question, especially nowadays, that it's double Reaper out of the reactor. So you do want to scout and narrow down what it's going to be, because double Reaper does require a bit of a different response. Probably a shield battery. Even though Showtime has the Reaper wall. I'll allow it for me, alright? You know my pet peeves about the Reaper wall. Since about half the time they don't even go for Reaper anyways, it's just a liability. But if Showtime does it, I think it's a good idea. Alright, I'll hitch. That seems like a pretty safe thing to hitch my train to. Train car? Showtime is a locomotive. And he's barreling down the tracks. And it's gonna be hard to get in his way. So I will be behind the locomotive, so I will not get run over by the train, which is not good. I would rather be behind the train as opposed to in front of it. All right. Now, another train that we would want to end as quickly as possible is this train of thought. Because what the fast medevac a seat is he gonna do if he does the Reaper wall push? I am going to feel so validated. Yet. And rescind all of my... Alright, Showtime. Like... Yeah... Alright, Showtime. You know what? I still don't like it. You can't even... So, if you're wondering why I don't like the Reaper wall... Well, then maybe open your eyes. Because in an attempt to slightly deny the Reaper from one angle, Showtime will now lose a gateway, his cyber core, and potentially a pylon for free. As it is almost impossible to engage this army. He built 2 shield batteries at the front. The triple Oracle lights him up. And shades the Adepts on trying to get some friendly fire damage. Siege tank in range. Liberator shows up. This fight is getting a bit convoluted. Wow, the anti-air is 1 Stalker. Oh, this... Okay, so Showtime defends. But I'm gonna slap a couple asterisks on that one. As at what cost? He did lose the cyber core. It's not a huge blow, but that's 300 minerals right there anytime. And you can't warp in stalkers for a time unless you preemptively built a second cyber core, which is not particularly efficient. Four more racks on the way for Spirit, which does give, you know, so Spirit really invested in this huge attack. And now he's expecting a counterattack, but instead Showtime has gone for an expansion. The double Cyclone looking for more. And Spirit is continually keeping a lot of pressure on here. He's gonna see more gates on the way. Did he see the rubble bay? He did. He saw it building. We're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he clicked on it, as it's pretty clear the direction Showtime wants to go if he's not immediately attacking. There's already charge on the way, following up. No blink, actually. The Viking is bullying the Phoenix out of its own base. So with no blink, this gets a little awkward. Loses 1 Cyclone, 7 kills, Marines on the deck. Showtime's base being dismantled. Oh, feels like the House of Cards is kind of tumbling down a bit in this game, as Showtime has now lost a dozen probes. He's getting bullied in his own base. The only saving grace here is the fact he even got a 3rd so quickly, as Spirit's 3rd command center is only halfway done, so Showtime should be able to bounce back economically. But he is spending a lot of time doing so. So he realized he had a tech lab unutilized there. Cyclone. There's a Viking in the medevac. We're gonna drop out, of course, which is a real danger to the probes. Viking surprisingly good. They 2-shot probes, which is kind of hilarious. Ironically, the Viking will be... Ah, yes. Check that one off your bingo card. Lifted Viking dying. Something quite ironic about that. Showtime in a awkward spot, as his production has been interrupted repeatedly. His economy has been in a similar place, but he is filling in the infrastructure. He's getting a forge. He's got a robo bay. He has disruptors. I'm surprised we don't see colossi. But Spirit will have +1 pretty significantly quicker. Maybe Chrono Boost will draw it closer to even. He's taking the charge lots very seriously. Multiple bunkers. Multiple bunkers to slow and shut things down. Those zealots easily distracted by the nearest building. Yeah, quite surprised to see disruptors as like oil and water, or like oil and a lighter, or a grenade, or like, you know, zealots and a hand grenade. Disruptors. The point is, disruptors and zealots have a very tense working relationship, because the zealots are convinced the disruptors will at some point try to shoot them in the back, and the disruptors are as well. It can work, but it does require a lot of dancing in and out of the most dangerous AoE pretty much in the game. Scanning for observers here. Wow, he is essentially creating a maze. There was a stasis actually denying the 4th base. Phoenixes slide in to kill some of the SCVs. It looks like Spirit just going to, oh my god, he walks right into the stasis. Spirit is just going to let them tire themselves out. Kills 10 SCVs before he runs out of energy. A recall of the Phoenixes back home. He should have enough to lift at least a tank or two, which might be where he wants to go with this. The force field's questionable, as it does force the army kind of out of position. The tank on the back line, the Phoenixes, not quite able to finish it off. Showtime, an okay start to the engagement, but he's able to zone out for now, but the units have come out of stasis. A Colossus has finally arrived at the party. Disruptor clips a Marauder. There's maybe 1 or 2 lifts on the Phoenixes for the siege tanks, but the charge lot's looking for a flank. +1 armor is seconds away if Showtime can hold on, but he's running out of real estate as the bio army is closing in. Disruptor shot. Finds very little, but the charge lots come in and killed 2 out of 3 tanks. Looking for a 3rd. The Protoss army kind of withering under the combined fire of the bio and the siege tanks. Though a bit of a massive doom drop. Not a bit of a massive doom drop, just a good old-fashioned doom drop here. The Phoenixes move to intercept, but they're not able to stop the Marines and Marauders from unloading. It's raining men in the main base under a deluge of Terran. That Zealot, like, see? A moment before the Disruptor connects with them. Oh, the Disruptors killing Zealots and Terran alike. The Phoenixes chasing down the bio army. Rejoined. The Phoenixes kill some of the medevacs, but most of the army is able to combine together. And the Phoenixes are not able to cut off the circulation of those medevacs. They're not able to stop them from maneuvering around. And Showtime has lost the Nexus. He's lost 10 probes. He's lost a lot of his key units. And he's done nothing to pressure Spirit on the other side of the map while he gets 2-2 and continues full production. 4th Command Center is floating over. Nexus will be rebuilt for Showtime. But in the end, will it even matter? The lack of Blink. Without Blink as kind of a utility tool to chase down medevacs and actually fight, as Phoenixes can annoy the medevacs all they want, but they struggle to really deal with the critical mass of bio units. They're more for zoning out Vikings and picking off the odd drop rather than denying a massive landing of essentially the entire Terran army. Spirit will back off. Some big credit to Spirit. This feels like a gimme, but the amount of players who don't repair their medevacs, I've noticed over time it's gotten better, but for many years, we just never, because you can't just right-click, you do have to press R and then click. Fun fact, you can right-click to repair pretty much anything that isn't a medevac, but in a medevac, it would just put the SCVs inside. Disruptors try to blindside the army. Warp Prism at a good time. Showtime? Okay. It is 2-2 versus 1-1. The Disruptors gambling. They clip through another tank. Scan spots the army. Liberators chasing things down. Main base has been cleared out. Showtime is keeping Spirit busy and putting together his defenses. Blink is halfway done. Disruptor shot. The tank is taken out. And without the tank to hold the position, he drags the army back. Showtime, if there was ever a time to jump on this, he dragged most of the Terran army that wasn't on his side of the map back over into the main. So if you were going to dismantle this, it has to be soon. And Showtime knows it. He was setting up, making sure his charge lot to get out in front. The Zealots on the way in. The bio army forced to retreat. The Disruptors not even fired off in this engagement. Still looking for more. Getting chased down the Liberators. Zone out for now. Disruptor shot. Oh, what a slick save there. He's able to pick up the ghost at the last moment. Spirit keeps it together. +3/+2 though for Spirit has 4 bases. Showtime's going on 5. He's acquitted himself well. It's been a shaky game, but he's found his foundation. And now, with the decent upgrades on this RoboBay-based army, as well as 5 bases, 74 workers apiece, Showtime has clawed his way back into it from quite a difficult position. Vehicle weapons level 2. A lot of siege tanks being invested in from Spirit, but constantly being whittled down by Showtime. Oh, the planetary are real danger, as many of those stalkers are already badly bruised. Double drop over to the southern side will meet with a Zealot counterattack. I believe the Marines and Marauders should be okay there with Stim. Or, well, just Marines in this case. Chasing the Zealots back. Not gonna fool him. Try to drag him away from the base. Doesn't work out. Recall. He partitions some of the army away. Showtime always pretty good about that. Recalling just enough instead of the entire army. Is there any vision? He sees the army at the front. EMP. Vikings. There's not that many stalkers to cover. Double Ruptor shot. Zealots overwhelming the drops. The Colossus joining the fray. Blink stalkers. Trying to help chase down. The medevac vainly trying to heal through the Zealots. Showtime. Dragging Spirit's attention away. +3 infantry weapons and +3 Protoss ground complete. It's going to be 3-2 and 3-2. Upgrades have evened out. Still +2 mech weapons. There are only 4 tanks on the field. Zealots looking for more Vikings. Almost finding an opportunity there. Vikings again. The Stalkers can't seem to find an angle to protect the Colossi effectively. More Colossi going down. Disruptor shots covering the retreat. Another bioarmy. A couple Phoenixes here as well. One gets taken out. Another one healed by the shield battery just in time. Showtime actually doesn't have enough supply to warp in realistically. Recall's on cooldown. He may lose the Nexus to a single drop, which really hurts at this stage of the game. Trying to bring some Zealots out to deal with it, but the Nexus just dies. And Spirit picks up, heads towards the main. 81 probes per Showtime. The army for Spirit is going the wrong way at the moment, but the Disruptors! Though, there's nothing to jump on them at this moment. So, for now, they will not be punished for that. And are we going, oh my god. Spirit loves microing SCVs into planetary fortresses. Oh, he's targeting the Ruptors and killing them with a planetary. Gets one, but the huge base trade. EMP. Disruptor in the army fires a shot. No target fire. Spirit loses a chunk. Showtime. Kind of idle on the other side. Trying to deal with armies in both of his key bases. Showtime caught in between. He killed one of the bases. Zealots working their way through. The initial start of this base trade, I think, is going better for Spirit. But I believe Recall is off cooldown. Indeed it is. He can potentially save the bottom left corner. And he's expanding to the direct 6 o'clock south. Showtime has an opportunity to bring it together. But he has to do it quickly. He can't recall he can't recall at a base that's not done yet. That's going to be so important. I think he's going to recall to this southern location. If he can deny the third, he might be able to just join up. The base finishes. There are probes headed every which way. Spirit maintains a supply lead, though his army is disjointed. Neither side has many workers or many places to mine from. The base is spotted. SCVs are pulled to the south. Showtime looking for an engagement. 4 siege tanks. The probes trying to get home. The ghosts in position. And the Zealots have closed in. The Disruptors haven't participated. Juggle some of them back. The Colossi will be maintained for now. The Disruptor shot. Oh, knocks out a medevac, but Showtime down to 97 supply. Spirit at 133. What's still on the board? 39 Marines, 11 Marauders, 6 medevacs. So not an unstoppable army by any means. For 3 Colossus, 5 Disruptors, and 15 Stalkers. But Showtime, this is the last Nexus, and there's a huge army. Oh, a massive recall, but it could be... No! Oh, no! It's a disaster! Showtime! A half second before the Marines and Marauders come into vision, he recalls all his remaining probes to his remaining base and loses both. And now Showtime is left in the same position Spirit was. What a appropriate, yet unsurprising conclusion. Now Showtime must kill Spirit. He cannot replenish this economy. He needs to do the damage quickly and efficiently with an army that is questionable at best. The Disruptors managed to survive, but here comes Spirit. EMPs. Force fields, a great idea. Disruptor shots coming through. Good shot, center mass, but there's not enough. Was he dropping Marines or just running them by? Juggles the Colossus, but he can't juggle his way out of this series. Showtime crumbles as Spirit solidifies his defense and holds strong. A great series. I think these two very evenly matched. Showtime with a beautiful game one, but Spirit wielded his Terran units well. And strong arm Showtime out of games 2 and 3. Spirit with a well-deserved victory, and I'm excited to see more of these two. Not the best known players though. So right now Showtime is ranked 11th, Spirit is 19th. I don't know if that's before or after this match, but currently. So the best of, you know, all the rest players, but I do want to show as many of them as possible. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I made your day a little bit better. I enjoyed this series. I hope you did too. Thank you for watching. Oh, if you made it this far, and autoplay hasn't played yet, but if you haven't yet subscribed, that would be amazing. I know you can just come find a new video every day, but number go up. Just like 1,095 likes to cast another series. See you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.